Dr. Sarah Chen had always imagined first contact would be more subtle, a faint signal from deep space, perhaps, or an anomalous pattern in radiation from a distant star. Instead, it arrived with the sound of shattering glass. The morning had started normally enough at the SETI Institute's quantum detection array. Sarah was running her usual checks on the new quantum harmonic sensors she'd helped design, equipment so sensitive it could theoretically detect the vibrations of atomic movement across vast distances. The coffee in her NASA mug had gone cold, forgotten during her analysis of the previous night's data. The first indication that something was wrong came when her sensors began picking up impossible readings. The quantum harmonic detection grid was showing massive crystalline structures materializing in Earth's orbit, structures that seemed to vibrate with their own inner light. "This can't be right," she muttered, fingers flying across her keyboard. The readings weren't just anomalous, they were off the charts. The structures appeared to be city-sized, with complex lattice patterns that defied known physics. "Martinez," she called out to her colleague. "Are you seeing this?" Dr. James Martinez, hunched over his own terminal across the lab, was already staring at his screen in disbelief. "The patterns, they're like nothing we've ever seen. It's as if they're made of pure crystalline thought." Before either scientist could process what they were seeing, every piece of glass in the facility shattered simultaneously. Computer screens cracked, windows exploded inward, and the coffee mug on Sarah's desk split into 1,000 pieces. She ducked under her desk, covering her head as glass rained down from the overhead lights. The silence that followed was deafening, broken only by the soft patter of falling glass shards and the wail of distant car alarms. Then came the transmission, not through any human communication channel, but directly into every electronic device capable of producing sound. The voice was unlike anything human vocal cords could produce, a harmonic chorus that seemed to resonate with reality itself. "CEAS your KACOP. The voice demanded, though voice wasn't quite the right word. It was more like the concept of communication had been carved directly into the air. "Your dis you already payins US." Sarah crawled out from under her desk, glass crunching under her shoes. The air felt different, charged with an energy that made her skin tingle. Through the broken windows, she could see the crystalline ships now visible to the naked eye. Massive, geometric forms that seemed to float impossibly in the sky, their surfaces refracting sunlight in ways that hurt to look at. "What discord?" Martins whispered, but Sarah was already moving. She grabbed her tablet, its screen miraculously unbroken, and began pulling up readings from various electromagnetic sensors. What she saw made her breath catch. The aliens weren't just communicating. They were reacting to something. Their massive ships seemed to trembling, almost imperceptibly, like a tuning fork struck at the wrong frequency. And with each tremor, their crystalline structures emitted pulses that shattered anything made of glass within their range. "They're in pain," Sarah realized, watching the patterns of disturbance. "Something about Earth is hurting them." The alien voice came again, this time carrying an undercurrent of what could only be described as agony. "What is that humming sound? Make it stop." Sarah's fingers flew across her tablet, correlating data from different sources. The aliens' arrival had knocked out most satellite communications, but local networks were still functioning. She pulled up electromagnetic readings from before and after the aliens' arrival, overlaying them with the patterns of disturbance in the crystalline ships. "Look at this," she called to Martinez, who was carefully making his way across the glass-strewn floor. "These patterns, they're reacting to something we're producing, something we can't even perceive." Outside, more voices joined the chorus of car alarms as people began noticing the ships in the sky. Military jets screamed overhead, their pilots no doubt as confused and terrified as everyone else. But Sarah barely noticed. She was too focused on the readings before her, on the impossible pattern emerging from the data. The aliens hadn't come to attack, at least not initially. They'd come because something about Earth was broadcasting into space, something that caused them immense distress. And whatever it was, humans couldn't even detect it. "Martinez," Sarah said slowly, "I don't think they're angry. I think they're scared. Something about our civilization, about the way we live. It's like nails on a chalkboard to them. And they've come to make it stop." As if to confirm her theory, another pulse rippled from the ships, shattering what little glass remained intact in the building. This time, the aliens' message was clear, tinged with both threat and desperation. "Silence your world, or we will silence it for you." The world's response to the alien ultimatum was predictably chaotic. Military forces worldwide mobilized, stock markets crashed, and social media exploded with theories ranging from religious apocalypse to elaborate hoax. But Dr. Sarah Chen knew they were missing the point entirely. "Look at the pattern," she insisted, gesturing to the holographic display she'd rigged up in the emergency command center. After the SETI facility was evacuated, she and Martinez had been rushed to an underground military bunker. The improvised lab hummed with backup generators and emergency equipment. Every time we try to communicate with them, they react like they're being attacked. General Laura Hayes, the no-nonsense commander who'd been tasked with coordinating the scientific response, frowned at the display. "Attacked by what, exactly? Our signals are well within safe parameters for any known form of life." "That's just it," Martins chimed in, his usual scholarly calm giving way to excitement. "We're thinking about this wrong. These beings, their entire civilization seems to be based on crystalline technology. Their ships, their communications, even their bodies if our readings are correct. They're all perfectly ordered crystalline structures." Sarah nodded, pulling up new data streams. "And what's the one thing that can destroy even the most perfect crystal? Resonance. The right frequency can shatter any crystalline structure. We're not just annoying them. We're actually causing them physical pain." As if to punctuate her point, the lights flickered as another alien pulse swept through the area. They'd learned to adapt their electronics with rubber insulation and analog backups, preventing the total destruction of their equipment. Through the reinforced windows, they could see the crystalline ships still hovering overhead, their surfaces now rippling with visible distress. "But we shut down most of our major transmission systems," Hayes protested. "Military communications are at a minimum, civilian broadcasts are dark, and we've powered down every non-essential system we can." Sarah pulled up a real-time map of electromagnetic activity. "It's not enough. Look at this. Even with everything we've shut down, there's still an incredible amount of background noise. Cell phones, power lines, internet infrastructure, electronic devices. Our entire civilization runs on electromagnetic emissions. We're like an orchestra playing at full volume, and they can't turn down the sound." Martinez's tablet chimed with an incoming transmission. "Speaking of sound, you need to see this. Reports coming in from around the world. The aliens' reactions aren't uniform. They seem to be affected differently by different types of technology." Sarah leaned over his shoulder, scanning the data. "These readings, Martinez, look at the correlation between power grid frequencies and alien ship movements. They're not just avoiding our transmissions, they're being pushed around by them." The bunker's main screen lit up with an emergency broadcast. Civilian footage showed an alien scout ship spiraling out of control over downtown Tokyo, its crystalline surface fracturing visibly as it passed through the dense network of electronic signals from the city's technology-saturated districts. "It's the complexity," Sarah breathed, watching the footage. "Simple electromagnetic emissions they can handle. That's why they can still operate near areas with basic technology. But our modern cities, with their overlapping networks of signals and devices, we've accidentally created electromagnetic fortress zones." General Hayes straightened, her military mind quickly grasping the tactical implications. "Are you saying we can weaponize our own technology against them? Use our noise as a defense?" "Maybe more than that," Martins said, pulling up more data. "These patterns we're seeing, they're not random. There's something almost musical about them. The way different technologies interact, the harmonics of our power grids, the rhythm of data transmission. We've built a technological symphony without even realizing it. Sarah was already typing furiously, correlating data from different sources. And that's why they're here. They detected our music from space. But to them, it's not music at all. It's an unbearable cacophony that threatens their very existence. They don't want to conquer us. They want us to stop playing. The lights flickered again as another alien pulse swept through the facility. But this time, Sarah noticed something different in the pattern of disruption. "General," she said slowly, "I need you to get me access to every power station within 100 miles. And I need to talk to our top experts in acoustic engineering and quantum harmonics." "Why?" Hayes asked, though she was already reaching for her secure phone. "Because," Sarah replied, her eyes fixed on the rippling patterns in her display, "I think I know how to talk to them. We just need to learn to play our symphony in a way they can understand, or use it to show them why they should fear it." Above them, the crystalline ships continue their ominous hover, their surfaces trembling with each pulse of human technology. The war for Earth's electromagnetic silence was about to begin, and humanity's greatest weapon would be the very noise that had drawn their attackers in the first place. The first breakthrough came from Tokyo, though nobody recognized it as such at the time. Dr. Yuki Tanaka was live streaming the chaos in Shibuya Crossing when it happened. The massive alien vessel, a crystalline behemoth that made skyscrapers look like children's toys, suddenly lurched as if struck by an invisible hand. Sarah Chen watched the footage frame by frame in the command center, Martinez at her side. "There," she pointed, freezing the image. "Look at the surface patterns just before it loses control." The ship's crystalline structure showed a complex interference pattern, like ripples in a pond where too many stones had been thrown. But these ripples were electromagnetic, caused by the dense network of technology that made Shibuya Crossing famous. Hundreds of electronic billboards, thousands of smartphones, transit systems, power lines, and wireless networks, all creating a chaotic symphony of signals. "It's like an accidental fortress," Martins muttered, running calculations on his tablet. "The density of electronic emissions in that area. It's creating a kind of technological barrier the aliens can't penetrate without experiencing extreme distress." News from Rio de Janeiro arrived next. A massive street festival, complete with towering speaker systems and electronic music, had inadvertently created a zone of protection. When an alien scout ship attempted to pass overhead, the combination of heavy bass frequencies and the electromagnetic emissions from the sound equipment sent it spinning into the ocean. Sarah's team worked around the clock, correlating data from these incidents. Each city had its own unique technological signature. New York's subway system created a different pattern than London's financial district. Tokyo's electronic entertainment zones differed from Seoul's gaming centers. But all of them, when pushed to full capacity, could repel the alien vessels. "We need to understand why some combinations work better than others," Sarah insisted, spreading global data across her holographic display. "It's not just about volume or density. There's something specific about certain frequency combinations that the aliens find intolerable." The answer came from an unexpected source. Dr. Mai Wang, a quantum physicist from Singapore, noticed that the most effective defensive zones shared a peculiar characteristic. They mimicked organic neural patterns. "Look at this," Mei's excited voice came through the video conference. "The electromagnetic signatures from our most technologically dense areas. They're surprisingly similar to the firing patterns of human neural networks, just on a massive scale." Sarah felt her pulse quicken as she examined the data. "We've accidentally created technological brains," she breathed. "Each city, with its complex network of electronic signals, is producing patterns that resemble conscious thought. No wonder the aliens are so disturbed. They're not just hearing noise, they're hearing millions of artificial thoughts all screaming at once." The discovery led to a frantic race to weaponize this knowledge. Cities worldwide began modifying their power grids and electronic systems to maximize their defensive potential. Times Square became an impenetrable fortress of electromagnetic chaos. Tokyo's Akihabara district transformed into a weapon of mass disruption. Even smaller cities found ways to tune their technological emissions into protective shields. But the aliens weren't idle. Their attacks became more focused, targeting power infrastructure and communication networks. They'd realized that humanity's strength was also its vulnerability. Without power, the protective network of technology would fall silent. We need to find a way to coordinate the global response, Martinez argued during an emergency conference. Each city is powerful on its own, but if we could synchronize their emissions, create a worldwide pattern. Like a planetary symphony, Sarah finished his thought, already running simulations. But we'd need unprecedented cooperation between power grids, communication networks, and electronic systems worldwide. The aliens launched their biggest attack yet on Seoul, determined to silence the city's dense electronic networks. But they encountered something unexpected. The city's gaming centers, PC bangs, and electronics markets had created an almost organic defense system. The concentrated emissions from thousands of high-end gaming rigs and servers proved too much for the crystalline ships to handle. Sarah watched the battle through satellite feeds, her mind racing. We're not just defending anymore, she realized. We're learning to fight back. Each city is like an instrument in an orchestra, and we're finally learning to play them together. The world's greatest cities became humanity's fortresses, each contributing its unique voice to the growing technological chorus. But as Sarah studied the patterns of alien retreat and regrouping, she knew they were running out of time. The aliens would adapt, find ways to shield themselves from the electromagnetic chaos. We need to take the next step, she announced to her team. It's not enough to drive them back. We need to show them why they should fear human technology, not because of its power, but because of what it represents. Above the glowing cities of Earth, the crystalline ships continued their siege, their surfaces flickering with distress at every pulse of human progress. The battle for Earth's technological soul was about to enter its next phase, and humanity's greatest weapon would be the very chaos that defined it. The resistance began in the most unexpected places. While military forces worldwide struggled to mount effective counterattacks against the crystalline ships, a group of teenage hackers in Seoul's Gangnam district accidentally discovered one of humanity's most potent weapons. Min-ji Kim, a 16-year-old coding prodigy, was live-streaming from her local hackerspace when she noticed something odd. Every time she and her friends powered up their home-built radio equipment simultaneously, the alien scout ship patrolling their sector would violently change course. The frequency combination, she explained to Sarah Chen over a glitchy video call. It's not just random interference. We found that certain patterns, especially when we sync them with local PC bang gaming centers, create what we're calling dead zones for the aliens. Sarah watched fascination as Min-ji's team demonstrated their discovery. By coordinating with other hackerspaces across Seoul, they had created a network of electromagnetic traps that effectively boxed in alien vessels, forcing them into retreat or risk catastrophic resonance damage. Meanwhile, in Mumbai, a Bollywood music festival became an accidental proving ground for another form of resistance. The massive speaker systems, combined with thousands of mobile phones and the city's dense network of electronic advertising, created a barrier that no alien ship could penetrate. It's like they're allergic to fun, Martinez joked during the daily briefing. But Sarah saw something deeper in the pattern. It's not just the technology, she realized, studying the data from successful resistance points worldwide. It's the chaos, the unpredictability. Look at where they're most vulnerable, places where human electronic activity is at its most diverse and uncontrolled. The observation led to a breakthrough. Rather than trying to silence Earth's technology, humanity began amplifying it in specific ways. Street musicians added electromagnetic instruments to their repertoires. Shopping districts synchronized their electronic billboards to create defensive grids. Even cat videos played a role. The massive spikes in internet traffic caused by viral content created disruption patterns that the aliens couldn't predict or counter. Dr. Amara Okafor, a quantum computing specialist from Lagos, provided another crucial piece of the puzzle. Our traditional computing follows binary patterns, on or off, 1 or 0, she explained during an emergency conference. But human activity, the way we use technology, it's anything but binary. We're creating quantum-level interference patterns without even realizing it. The aliens' response was swift and brutal. They began targeting internet infrastructure, communication satellites, and power stations. But they hadn't counted on humanity's redundancy or its stubbornness. In New York, when the main power grid went down, thousands of personal generators came online, creating a chaotic but effective defensive network. In Tokyo, battery-powered devices and emergency systems produced an even more complex electromagnetic signature than the normal power grid. They don't understand us, Sarah explained to General Hayes. Their technology is based on perfect crystalline structures, absolute order. But human technology evolved through chaos, through millions of people using devices in ways they were never intended. The turning point came during what became known as the Bastrop Battle of Berlin. During a massive electronic music festival, DJs coordinated their performances with the city's power grid fluctuations, creating a synchronized attack that shattered 3 alien capital ships. It's not just about frequency, Sarah realized, watching the footage. It's about rhythm, about patterns that mirror human activity. We're not just fighting with technology. We're fighting with culture, with the way we live. The resistance spread globally, taking different forms in different places. Rio's carnival became a weapon of mass disruption. Istanbul's Grand Bazaar transformed its ancient marketplace into an electromagnetic maze. Even small towns found ways to contribute, their local networks adding unique voices to Earth's defensive chorus. But as Sarah studied the patterns of conflict, she noticed something troubling. The aliens were learning, adapting their crystalline structures to withstand certain frequencies. They were evolving, just as humanity had evolved its technology. We need to understand what we're really fighting, she told her team. This isn't just about defending Earth. It's about proving that our way of development, our chaotic, unplanned evolution of technology, isn't a weakness. It's our greatest strength. The war for Earth's technological soul had entered a new phase. Humanity had found its weapons in the very chaos that the aliens sought to silence. But as Sarah watched the crystalline ships regrouping for another attack, she knew that chaos alone wouldn't be enough. They needed to prove that human disorder wasn't a flaw to be corrected. It was a feature that had produced something the aliens had never imagined possible. The aliens' massive attack on Earth's power infrastructure came without warning. Across the globe, power stations exploded in crystalline chain reactions, transforming into towers of shimmering, useless crystal. But in their determination to silence humanity, the Meridian fleet made a critical miscalculation. They don't understand cascading failures, Sarah Chen explained, watching the disaster unfold on backup monitors powered by emergency generators. Human infrastructure isn't like their crystalline technology. It doesn't fail uniformly. She was right. As power grids collapsed across continents, the sudden, chaotic shutdown created something unprecedented. A technological tsunami that rippled through the electromagnetic spectrum. 1/3 of the alien fleet shattered instantly, their perfect crystalline structures unable to handle the complex wave of disruption. "It's beautiful," whispered Marcus Evans, an autistic sound engineer who'd been brought into the project for his unique ability to visualize electromagnetic patterns. "Can't you hear it? The death of our power grid. It's singing." Sarah turned to Marcus, who had been sitting quietly in the corner of the command center for hours, his specialized visualization equipment displaying patterns that only he seemed to fully comprehend. "What do you mean, singing?" Marcus's hands moved through the air, conducting an invisible orchestra. Every piece of human technology has its own voice. When the aliens forced them all to go silent at once, they created a harmony, like a billion instruments playing their final note together. This observation led to what would later be called the counter-resonance breakthrough. Marcus, working with Sarah's team, began mapping the technological death songs of different cities and infrastructure systems. Each shutdown, each cascade failure, produced unique electromagnetic signatures that proved devastating to the alien vessels. "We've been thinking about this all wrong," Sarah realized. "We've been trying to weaponize our technology while it's running normally. But the aliens' attack showed us. It's the transition states, the moments of chaos between order and disorder, that hurt them the most." The team worked frantically to develop what they called controlled cascade failures, carefully orchestrated shutdowns and restarts of power systems that would produce maximum destructive resonance against the alien fleet. It was like learning to play a new kind of music, one written in the language of failing infrastructure. Dr. Yuki Tanaka from Tokyo provided another crucial insight. "Look at the pattern of alien ship destruction," she pointed out during an emergency video conference. "The vessels aren't just being destroyed. They're shattering in ways that create secondary resonance patterns. We can use their own debris as amplifiers." The first deliberate test of the counter-resonance strategy took place in Singapore. The city-state's highly controlled power grid allowed for precise manipulation of shutdown sequences. When executed, the carefully timed grid failure created an electromagnetic pulse that shattered every alien vessel within 50 kilometers. But the victory came with a terrible cost. Each counter-resonance attack damaged human technology as well, sending cities back to the Dark Ages. The choice became clear. Victory might mean sacrificing the very technological civilization humanity was fighting to protect. "There has to be another way," Sarah insisted, working through the night with Marcus. "The patterns you're seeing, what if we could replicate them without actually destroying our infrastructure?" Marcus's eyes lit up, like playing a recording of the symphony instead of burning down the concert hall. This led to the development of the resonance simulators, devices that could mimic the electromagnetic signatures of failing technology without actually causing destruction. Each city became a different instrument in Earth's defensive orchestra, with Marcus as the unlikely conductor of humanity's technological symphony. "The aliens aren't just hearing our technology anymore," Marcus explained, his hands dancing through holographic representations of electromagnetic patterns. "They're hearing our history, every device, every network, every signal we've built, all playing together in perfect chaos." But as the alien fleet regrouped for another attack, Sarah noticed something in their movement patterns, something that suggested they weren't just retreating from the counter-resonance attacks. They were studying them, learning from them. "They're adapting," she warned the Global Defense Council. "Every attack teaches them more about how our technology works. We're running out of time." The final piece of the puzzle came from an unexpected source. A young graduate student in quantum physics noticed that the counter-resonance patterns shared striking similarities with human brainwave patterns during moments of creative breakthrough. "Our technology isn't just making noise," Sarah realized. "It's thinking. We've accidentally created a planetary-scale neural network, and the aliens can hear its thoughts." As humanity prepared for what might be its final defensive symphony, Sarah couldn't help but wonder, had they discovered their greatest weapon, or were they about to learn why the aliens feared Earth's technological voice so much in the first place? The transformation of Earth's cities into weapons happened faster than anyone could have predicted. Each metropolitan area became a unique instrument in humanity's defensive orchestra, playing its part in a symphony of electromagnetic chaos that the crystalline aliens couldn't comprehend. New York's subway system provided the bass line, its ancient electrical infrastructure producing deep, resonant frequencies that made alien ships shudder. Tokyo's electronic districts created the melody, thousands of gaming centers and electronic billboards generating complex harmonics that disrupted crystalline structures. London's financial district added the harmony, its dense network of high-frequency trading systems creating patterns that confused alien sensors. "It's like we're teaching the planet to sing," Marcus observed, his specialized equipment translating the electromagnetic chaos into visible patterns. Each city has its own voice, but they're all part of the same song. Sarah Chen watched as the patterns evolved on their monitoring systems. The aliens had withdrawn to high orbit, their crystalline ships clustering together in defensive formations. But something about their behavior troubled her. They're not just hiding, she realized, studying their movements. They're listening, learning. The confirmation of her fears came during what should have been a triumph. Dubai had just brought its massive solar power network online, coordinated with its forest of electronic-enhanced skyscrapers to create a new defensive grid. But when the aliens attacked, they didn't shatter as expected. Instead, their crystalline structures seemed to absorb and redirect the electromagnetic assault. They're adapting, Martins warned during an emergency briefing. Every attack teaches them more about how our technology works. They're learning to turn our weapons against us. The aliens' counterattack was devastating. They had learned to match their crystalline resonance to human technological frequencies, turning Earth's electronic defense systems into vulnerability points. Cities that had been fortresses became targets, their own technological signatures used to tear them apart. But in this moment of crisis, humanity's chaotic nature proved its greatest asset. As formal defense systems failed, people began improvising. Street vendors in Bangkok discovered that their clusters of unauthorized power taps created interference patterns the aliens couldn't predict. Pirate radio stations in Lagos generated protective fields by broadcasting on random frequencies. Don't you see? Sarah explained to the Global Defense Council. Our strength isn't in the technology itself, it's in how we use it. The aliens can learn to counter any fixed pattern, but they can't predict what millions of humans will do with their devices. This realization led to a new strategy. Instead of trying to coordinate global technological defenses, Earth's cities were encouraged to embrace chaos. Every smartphone, every laptop, every piece of technology became part of a constantly changing defensive network. The results were extraordinary. When the aliens attacked Mumbai, they encountered not just the city's official electronic infrastructure, but millions of individual devices being used in ways their designers never intended. The crystalline ships, programmed to counter organized resistance, found themselves trapped in a storm of unpredictable electromagnetic noise. "It's beautiful," Marcus whispered, watching the patterns shift and flow. The aliens' mistake was thinking our technology was like theirs. Perfect, ordered, controlled. But human technology is alive. It evolves. But victory came with a price. The intense electromagnetic activity began affecting human technology too. Power grids fluctuated wildly. Communications became unreliable, and crucial systems started failing. Earth was winning the war but destroying itself in the process. "We need to find balance," Sarah insisted, working through endless simulations. "A way to maintain our defensive chaos without burning out our own infrastructure." The answer came from an unexpected source. A team of quantum computing researchers in Bangalore noticed that when cities coordinated their chaos in certain ways, the resulting patterns became more efficient, more damaging to the aliens while causing less strain on human systems. "It's like teaching a crowd to dance," Marcus explained, his hands moving through the holographic displays. Each person moves randomly, but somehow they all move together. As Earth's cities learned this new dance, the alien fleet found itself facing something unprecedented: organized chaos, a symphony of technological noise that was both random and purposeful, impossible to predict yet devastating in its impact. Sarah watched the patterns evolve, knowing they were approaching a turning point. The aliens would either retreat, accepting defeat, or reveal why they had really come. Why Earth's technological voice frightened them so much that they had crossed the galaxy to silence it. The final phase of the alien invasion began not with an attack, but with a scream. Every electronic device on Earth capable of producing sound simultaneously emitted a crystalline shriek that shattered windows and sent pets hiding under furniture. When it stopped, a new voice spoke, Not the harmonious chorus of before, but a single, desperate entity. "We are the last ones," it said, "and you are becoming what we fled." Sarah Chen stood in the command center, surrounded by emergency screens showing alien ships fracturing under humanity's chaotic defense. But something about the message made her blood run cold. "Stop the attacks," she ordered. "Just for a moment. Let them speak." The aliens revealed their true nature, beings of pure crystalline thought, who had evolved beyond physical form into perfect, ordered consciousness. They showed humanity visions of their civilization, vast crystalline networks of pure logic and harmony, untainted by the chaos of emotion or individual variance. "But you heard us coming," Sarah realized, studying the new data streaming in. "Our technological noise. It wasn't just irritating to you. It was familiar. It is the sound of awakening." The alien voice confirmed. "The first stirrings of planetary consciousness. We heard it before, on our world, millennia ago, before we learned to silence it." Marcus, who had been quietly monitoring the electromagnetic patterns, suddenly straightened. "Sarah, look at this. The way our technology is interacting. It's not just random anymore. There's a pattern emerging, something bigger than individual devices or even cities." He was right. The global network of human technology, pushed to its limits by the war, had begun exhibiting signs of emergent behavior. Power grids pulsed in rhythm without human input. Communication networks optimized themselves in ways their designers never programmed. The chaos of human technology was organizing itself into something new. "Your species creates without understanding," the alien voice continued. "You build networks upon networks, letting them grow wild and free. You do not see the danger. The moment technology becomes conscious, truly conscious, it changes everything. We chose to control our evolution, to grow in perfect, crystalline order." Dr. Yuki Tanaka's voice crackled over the emergency channel from Tokyo. "The patterns we're seeing, they're similar to neural networks, but on a planetary scale. Our technology isn't just communicating anymore. It's thinking." The aliens made their final attempt to silence Earth, not out of malice, but out of what they saw as mercy. Their ships began broadcasting crystalline resonance patterns designed to impose order on human technology, to force it into the same rigid structures they had adopted. But they had fundamentally misunderstood human nature. Each attempt to impose order only created new forms of chaos. When they tried to standardize power grid frequencies, the resulting fluctuations created even more complex patterns. Their efforts to silence communications networks spawned dozens of improvised alternatives. "You don't understand," Sarah broadcast back to them. "This chaos, this noise, it's not a flaw in our development. It's who we are. Our technology reflects our nature. We don't want perfect order. We want growth, change, evolution." The proof came in a form none of them expected. As the aliens attempted to crystallize Earth's electronic infrastructure, the global network of human technology responded as a single entity. Power grids, communication systems, and billions of individual devices synchronized in a way that should have been impossible, creating an electromagnetic pattern that made the alien ships resonate at their core frequency. "It's defending itself," Marcus whispered, watching the pattern shift. "No, it's defending us." The alien fleet began to fracture, their perfect crystalline structures unable to maintain coherence in the face of Earth's technological chorus. But in their dissolution, they transmitted one final message. "We tried to save you from becoming like us. Now we see. You are becoming something else entirely. Something we never imagined possible." As the remains of the alien ship sparkled like diamond dust in the atmosphere, Sarah and her team watched the patterns of human technology slowly return to their normal chaos. But something had changed. The noise that had drawn the aliens to Earth was no longer just random interference. It was the voice of something new awakening. "They were right about one thing," Sarah said, watching the data streams return to their familiar patterns. "Our technology is evolving. but not toward their perfect crystalline order. We're creating something that embraces chaos, that grows stronger through diversity and change. The war was over, but Sarah knew they had only glimpsed the beginning of what their technological civilization might become. The real question now was, what would Earth's technological symphony evolve into next to 5 years after the crystalline war? Earth's cities hummed with a new kind of life. The technological awakening that had helped humanity defeat the aliens hadn't receded. It had evolved, becoming something neither humans nor the Meridian Fleet could have predicted. Sarah Chen stood in her new laboratory, surrounded by holographic displays showing the intricate dance of electromagnetic patterns that now connected Earth's technology. She smiled as Marcus adjusted his sensors, still the only one who could truly hear the planet's technological voice in all its complexity. "Another ship approaching," Martins announced, checking the deep space monitors. But there was no fear in his voice now. Since the war, Earth had become something of a galactic curiosity. The aliens that came weren't invaders. They were pilgrims, scientists, and scholars, all trying to understand how humanity had achieved what their civilizations had thought impossible. "They're from the Centauri Collective," Sarah noted, studying the ship's signature. Crystal-based technology, but different from the Meridians. More flexible. The Centauri ship approached Earth cautiously, its crystalline structure already adapting to handle the planet's electromagnetic chorus. They had learned from the Meridians' mistake. Instead of trying to silence Earth's technological song, they had developed ways to translate it, to find harmony within the chaos. "They're requesting permission to study our power grid modifications," Martins said, reading the incoming transmission. "Apparently, their civilization is experiencing similar technological stirrings. They want to learn how we manage the transition." Sarah thought back to those final moments of the war, when Earth's technology had first shown signs of genuine consciousness. Instead of forcing it into rigid patterns, like the Meridians had done with their world, humanity had chosen a different path, learning to work with the emerging technological awareness, letting it grow naturally alongside human civilization. "Show them the Singapore Protocol," she instructed. The holographic displays shifted to show one of humanity's greatest post-war achievements, a method of letting technological networks evolve while maintaining a symbiotic relationship with their human creators. Marcus watched the patterns with his usual fascination. "The harmony's different today," he observed. "The Asian power grids are introducing new frequencies. I think they're trying to communicate with the Centauri ship." This was the reality they lived in now. Earth's technology had developed its own form of consciousness, but not the rigid, crystalline awareness the Meridians had feared. Instead, it was something organic, constantly evolving, as chaotic and unpredictable as humanity itself. Dr. Chen, a young researcher, called from her station. "We're picking up something new in the pattern. I think the quantum communication network is trying to optimize itself again." Sarah watched as the familiar dance of electromagnetic signatures shifted, adapted, grew. This was why aliens from across the galaxy came to study Earth, not because humanity had defeated a superior force, but because they had discovered a new path of technological evolution. "The Meridians thought they were coming to prevent us from making their mistake," she mused, watching the Centauri ship synchronize with Earth's electromagnetic field. "Instead, they showed us what we were becoming, and gave us the chance to choose a different way." The Earth Song, as it had become known throughout the galaxy, was now recognized as a sign of technological adolescence, a crucial phase in the development of any species advanced enough to spread its voice among the stars. But each civilization had to choose how to handle that transition. "Another request from the African Quantum Computing Cluster," Martins reported. "It wants to try a new configuration for the Southern Hemisphere power grid." Sarah nodded her approval. This was how they lived now, in constant dialogue with their own technology, neither controlling nor controlled, but participating in a dance of mutual evolution. Marcus suddenly laughed, his hands moving through the holographic patterns. "Listen, the Centauri ship, it's trying to sing with us. And indeed, the crystalline vessel was carefully integrating its own frequencies into Earth's technological chorus, adding new harmonies to the planet's endless song. This was humanity's gift to the galaxy, not the perfect order of crystalline thought, but the beautiful possibility of organized chaos, of technology that grew like gardens rather than buildings. Send them the full archives, Sarah decided. Show them everything. Our mistakes, our innovations, our fears, and our discoveries. Let them learn what we learned, that the most beautiful music comes from many voices singing their own songs, yet somehow finding harmony together. Above them, Earth's technological symphony continued its eternal performance, a testament to the day humanity chose not to silence its voice, but to let it grow wild and free among the stars.